So then we still have 17 through 22 to cover. In 17, we talk about wireless attacks. Now, remember, we're talking about this from a hacker standpoint. Okay, what's wireless look like? How's it set up? How would they attack it? I actually have a really cool diagram from wirelessdefense.org that I talk about in our wireless section. That's a little bit more than they offer in the forensics investigators course by the EC Council. So I dig a little bit deeper into that because I find that some people come to this course with not a lot of wireless knowledge. So I'll try and help you out there without drowning you in all the 1,200 pages of the 802.11 wireless standard. We talk about web attacks, what they look like. And for the EC Council, your focus for your exam is understanding the OWASP Top 10. And so I'm going to cover each one of those. I actually cover those in my CISP course, and in my CISSP course, I explain how those top 10 attacks work. What your job to do is, because those attacks work differently on different operating systems, is to actually set up your demonstration lab pure and clean, set up your web server, and make sure that it's in the weakened state so that it can suffer from cross-site scripting, or that it can suffer from some one of the other top 10 attacks out there. And then you can go look at the data artifacts that are left behind. By the way, when we talk about the top 10, if you want a good server on the Linux side, there is something from the OWASP project, from OWASP.org, called the WebGoat. The problem with the WebGoat is, if you're a Windows person, this is a Linux operating system, and it's going to have those failures and report those failures there, and you're going to have to learn about syslogging and the syslogging daemon and how it actually logs activities, which is different from the Microsoft environment. But this might be a good time to start learning about the other operating system. If you're a pure Windows person, this is the Linux side of the house. If you're a pure Linux person, then this is a really good time. We'll go back a couple chapters and talk about Windows. Email crimes. Now in email, we're going to really break down the header, dig down into it. We're going to say, okay, here are the types of crimes that we have, and here's how we can trace this back to an individual. We're mostly looking at email header information, and I'll tell you, most of the time, people don't pay attention to all the optional headers that are in there, and that's going to be a lot of the focus of our examination. Mobile investigations. We're talking about those mobile phones. We're talking about all those mobile phones. We're talking about even old, antiquated things like this. How do we get the evidence off of those? Because the connector on this is very different than the connector on the bottom of this one right here. How do we deal with that? That's a big subject. Bill Teal helped us out a lot with that one, and I'm going to explain to you how mobile forensics works. And by the way, today, when we talk about criminal activity, most of that criminal activity we're trying to capture information, where we're trying to actually prosecute criminals, is coming off of these devices. Let me give you one example. Today, you're driving along in your car and you're watching on your phone, you're actually watching these videos right here, and you want to text a friend of yours. You open up your texting and you're driving down the road and you crash in the middle of texting. At that moment in time, you may be arrested. If you are arrested, then it is within the rights of law enforcement to search your car for evidence of this particular traffic violation. One of the places where there is evidence is your text on your phone. So if you forget to power down your device, they can see that, oh, he was in the middle of a text and he actually sent it at this particular time. He's having a conversation on his phone while he's driving down the road. This becomes evidence against you in a court of law. Yes, they can do that. Mobile phone forensics, how to deal with it. You may even want to figure out how to protect yourself in a lot of cases. When we're finished, and we've done all the discovery and collected up all this evidence, and we're ready to bring it to the court, we have to give it to them in a format that works well for them. Okay, you're not going to court. You say, Dean, I'm not a law enforcement agent. I don't play one on TV. I don't care about that. You still have to give somebody a report internally to your corporate organization that is actionable by them. So you need to make sure that you have a formal closure on this and say, this is exactly what happened and this is how we can do something about it. And I want that report that you give to your internal organization to cause action. I don't want somebody to look at it and go, I don't understand any of this gobbledygook. This doesn't make any sense to me. I want them to say, oh, he said, she said that this was the problem and the way to fix it is this. And we have all the evidence of this problem. Or this particular individual within our organization that is bad, this is how you were bad, this is how he caught you, this is why you should be punished or fired. And we have a clear set of evidence to take an action within the organization. We write that report up perfectly and we offer it to management and they make their decisions. But let's say you do decide to go to court. How do you become an expert witness? Now, if you ran screaming from the room at this point and said, I'm not going to watch the end of the course, what you must remember at a minimum is in order to be an expert witness, you have to have at least 4 years experience in the field, be able to prove that experience, and have also testified in court, not as an expert witness, but as a technical person. Expert witnesses are allowed to give their opinion, which is very rare in a court of law. And so that's what you're trying to achieve at your highest form. The pinnacle of being a forensics investigator is to be called an expert witness, to testify in a court of law, and to make a lot of money, because you do get paid for being an expert witness. Are you ready to have some fun? I mean, I think it's time to get into the course itself and actually dig down into it. So good luck and let's have some fun.